Good morning. It is Tuesday, February 23rd, 2022, and coming to you from the Lonely Tree Media Studios in Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Lamb Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamb, and with me is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, Parker.
Yeah, it's a beautiful Tuesday morning.
Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, right?
Today is Tuesday.
Today is
I swear when you were doing the intro just now, you said Tuesday, February 3rd.
I might have said February 23rd because I think I forgot to change the date.
Well, for everyone.
That was last. That was last.
First.
That was last week. That was. By the way, that was last.
I heard it and I was like, did I hear that right? Maybe I'm just hearing things wrong.
Okay, so today is March the 1st.
But it is still Tuesday.
But it is still Tuesday. I changed
We are accurate on the day of the week.
I changed one thing, but not another. So I don't. I mean, I don't have a proofreader. I don't have a copywriter. I don't have anything. It's all me.
It's all Corona cutbacks.
If that's the best thing that if that's the best if that's the best thing that happened or worst thing that happens, then we're doing all right.
Sure.
So
very true.
We're streaming on YouTube. We're on Twitter at Lamb Sports. We're on Facebook under the Best Lamb Sports Show. And you can send us an email, lambsports@gmail.com. Please check out our webpage. You can find links to the past shows and the current trivia question on www.lambsports.com. MLS soccer kicked off the season on Saturday. Yay, soccer.
Yay.
I guess. And then the NBA and NHL are heading towards their playoffs. We're going to talk about the NBA today. We're going to talk about the NHL next week. Saudi Golf League. We didn't even talk about this. I don't even have a big thing about it, but we're going to talk briefly about it later. You know about the Saudi Golf League or Super Golf League?
The Super Golf League and all the conspiracies.
Right, and all the what's going on.
F1. It's exciting stuff, that's for sure.
F1 season is right around the corner, by the way. And we're also going to look at how the Russian invasion of Ukraine has affected the sporting world so far and what sanctions are in place now. So it's being a big thing. But I'm doing this a little different. We're going to start with the trivia question before I even do the first segment of the show. So you ready?
Wow.
Trivia question is right now because this is F1 related, people.
Let's do it.
This year will be the 18th running of the Bahrain Grand Prix on March 20th. How many times in the previous 17 races has the winner of the Bahrain Grand Prix gone on to win the Formula One Drivers' Championship that same season?
Got it. Got the answer.
So it's an easy number. It's between 1 and 7, or between 0, I guess, and 17, right?
Right.
Okay. This is an easy question. I mean, it's not really, but I found this one interesting. So, all right, you ready? First segment of the show, because that's what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Brought to you by The Range. The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting destination at 34,000 square feet. The Range is an all-inclusive facility offering firearm training, retail sales and supplies, full gunsmithing and repairs, custom builds, and Cerakote services. All under one roof at The Range. Open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 7, Sunday 11 to 5. Go see our friends at The Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. The phone number is 509-571-1449. Make sure you mention the Best Lamb Sports Show. The Range. Educate, equip, and empower. So let's jump into soccer.
Soccer.
Let's kick it off with soccer. I don't know. There's a pun somewhere.
That was terrible.
I know, it's what I do. The Timbers opened 2022 with a 2-2 draw at Providence Park on Sunday against last season's Supporters Shield winners, the New England Revolution. For those of you who don't know what a Supporters Shield is, it's the team with the most points during the regular season. And for why they give it the Supporters Shield, I have no idea, because I assume they think that the supporters were part of them acquiring that many points. I don't know. Anyway, New England set a record last year with 73 points in the regular season. So it's an MLS record. So they were really good last year. Did not make it to the finals. Anyway, New England scored on a Brandon By header off a corner kick in the 41st minute, took a 1-0 lead. Timbers tied it at 1 on a Darren Asprilla left-footed shot as he broke through the line. In the 60th minute, Revolution retook the lead just 3 minutes later on a goal by Sebastian Lletget, making it 2-1, and then Portland tied it up in the 78th minute as Jimmy Chara's bicycle kick went just past the outstretched arm of Revs goalie Earl Edwards and just inside the right post. The late goal from Portland kept New England coach Bruce Arena from becoming the league's all-time leader in coaching victories. He's currently tied with the late Ziggy Schmid at 240 wins. Portland plays LAFC next Sunday. That's their next game in LA. 7 p.m. Pacific time. I don't know where you can see it other than ESPN Plus. It may be on TV. They haven't announced it yet. But are you excited to have soccer back?
Meh. It means the max is crowded in Portland.
Right?
It means that there's just an extra thing going on one day a week that gives us traffic.
And maybe 2. Sometimes they play on Wednesday.
No, and also they don't broadcast the games appropriately. Like it's the big witch hunt for money that Portland teams are doing, the basketball team and the soccer team. So you can't watch most of the games locally.
Yeah.
Unless you have like a cable package. And I have a bunch of streaming things, but I don't have the cable packages. So yeah, I don't get to see most of the games. So it kind of turns into, well, that's cool. Like, and I am excited for it. I'm excited to see them compete and things like that. But the soccer season is long, and just like the baseball season, it's really long. And you just it kind of goes up and down, and you can only watch so many bicycle kick highlights before you're like, all right, cool,
You know, it is long. I mean, people don't quite understand that the first game here, which is February, and the last game will be in November.
Yeah,
The MLS
it's
Cup
probably
ends
our
in
longest
November.
running season.
It is, without a doubt.
Yeah,
Um,
but it is like sometimes they'll play one game and then have a week and a half off.
it's true.
So it's not like they're playing 2 games a week for 10 months.
Yeah, but to be fair, NFL players take a week in between, and they don't run nearly as far as these guys do.
But they take exactly, well, every once in a while you have one bye week, but like there was one time where the Timbers played and then there was 2 weeks and then they played again.
So some of
And it's because accounting for like for international
Yeah.
games and things like that. But again, you lose track of the season when there's big gaps.
right,
And it's like, well, I'm not if you're not following it closely.
it's true. It's absolutely true.
But I am excited to have Timbers games back because that means I get to go to some Timbers games this year. How'd you feel about their pink uniforms?
It's interesting.
It was an interesting
I'm
choice.
not sure what the pattern on there is supposed to be exactly.
So they're roses.
Okay, sure, that makes sense.
But they're like maroon or violet colored kind of.
Yeah.
And then their shorts are like that maroon and violet to match the pattern.
It wasn't terrible. I mean,
They're okay.
it's not the
AJ bought
worst
a
thing.
jersey and came over, and I was like sitting there inspecting it afterward. I'm like, the heck is going on here?
Rose-
Like, why did we end up with this?
Is it part of the Rose City Football Club collection? I guess I don't know, but
It's their official away jersey. First of all, I thought their official away jersey should always be just like white, and their home jersey should always be green or whatever. But I don't know. It has like a Spanish quote on the bottom of it, so it has some sort of Spanish tie to it. But I don't know exactly what the heck's going on.
It's interesting. It's interesting. That's the best thing I can say. And I watched this game. At least I watched the whole first half of this game. And Portland is fast. Portland is an extremely fast counterattacking type team. And New England was the better team for the majority of the first half in controlling the ball and putting pressure on. But the minute they would lose it, it was a sprint to the other end. And I think that's kind of how Portland has built their team, but they are super fast. Both the Charas, for one thing.
Yeah.
When they're both on the field, good night. So anyway, we'll see how they do. But it's interesting. I like soccer. I do. I like watching soccer. MLS is not my favorite. I like watching European soccer. They're better at it. They have better players. So, I mean, what are you gonna do? So, but it is what we have, and we do it wrong. And we used to do it right. Remember when the MLS started? They counted down like a countdown timer, because they didn't think that Americans would handle the count up with the extra time.
I don't remember that. No, that's odd.
When the MLS started, this was 94, 95, somewhere in that ballpark. They've been around for a little while. When they restarted their league, they had the North American Soccer League once upon a time, but when they restarted this league, they didn't think that Americans would be able to handle the count up timer. It goes up to 45 and then stops there, and then there's extra time. They didn't think, because everything in America counts down. You go from this to 0. When the buzzer sounds, the game's over. Well, that's not how soccer works. But so they didn't. So they did a countdown timer just like that, and it was stupid. It lasted all of a season, I think, maybe 2, and then it was gone.
The international soccer world has such a negative view of the MLS.
Yeah,
it has a very look down view, and that type of crap right there just adds to it. Like the fact that the first time you went to do it, you decide, I know it's a normal soccer thing, but we're just not going to do it that way.
We're just going to do it differently because we're Americans.
we're gonna change it for broadcast purposes because we don't want to scare
We don't
Americans.
want to scare viewers away and go. When some viewers are going to watch this and go, it says four. It says we're zero. What is? What? How come it's not?
Well, when the hell is this gonna
Is
end?
this ever going to end? Well,
Jesus, it just keeps counting up.
to be
That
fair,
says +5 and it says 96.
to be fair, I have said the same thing and
I,
you're watching European soccer games. Is this ever going to end? Is he going to blow the whistle?
I
Anyway,
I will say that is a part that gets me. There's a lot of loosey goosey things about soccer, and
yeah,
that's what people can say is the beautiful part of it. But when they say, all right, adding 5 minutes on of extra time, I'm like, cool, because that accounts for 5 minutes of stoppage during the regular
sure.
game, even though it doesn't, because there's probably like
No,
20 minutes of
right.
stoppage. But it's like, all right, +5, and then it's at 96 and 97 and 98 minutes.
Yeah,
You're like, do we care about rules at all?
no.
Like, is there any structure to this game at all?
You just, yeah.
You got one guy out here in a neon shirt making all the decisions, and he doesn't speak the same language as anybody else on the field.
Yeah, he's yelling at them in Spanish. They're yelling back at him in German, and they're like, I don't know.
It is very confusing.
I don't know. And
It is fun to watch.
and none of the Americans know what's going on. So it's great.
And then the Americans are terrified in the stands because
Right.
they don't know if they're ever going to get to go home.
Right. Yeah, right. See, I thought I have a date after this, and I can't. So let's talk about the NBA and the Portland Trailblazers for a minute. Blazers have lost 2 straight, now 11th place in the West again.
There's that tank that we needed.
At 25 and 36. It's a virtual tie with New Orleans now, who beat the Lakers on Sunday night 123-95 after beating the league-leading Phoenix Suns 117-102 last
They
Friday.
look pretty good.
They do look a lot better since they got CJ, huh?
Yeah, they're on a run right now.
Portland announced that Damian Lillard would not be back this season, which we kind of all knew was coming.
We kind of all hoped that too.
Right.
Like if you're tanking, why
Right.
bring him back at all?
Correct. And no sense risking another injury or further injury.
Yeah.
That's just dumb. So Portland's next game is tomorrow night against Phoenix, which is not helpful.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, but New Orleans beating the Lakers. The Lakers are 6-14 in their last 20 games.
God, they are freaking terrible.
They look. I was
are bad.
I was saying pretty bad. I wasn't going to say terrible, but it is terrible. I mean, for a team that has that much talent on it, you'd think they'd be a lot better, and they just have not shown that they can do that.
The only reason they seem competitive at all at any point in their games is because of their superstar calls.
Right.
Like because of the fact that LeBron James gets played defense on less than 5% of his drives.
Yeah.
People just back the hell out of the way and just let him on through because you can't get close to him. Otherwise, they're going to call you for a foul.
Right.
So if it wasn't for things like that, they would never be close.
LA is still in the 9th spot in the West. And they are still 2.5 games ahead of the Pelicans.
Yeah.
So probably nothing's going to change because Portland's is headed down, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the point, yeah.
But if the Lakers just continue to lose at that pace, they're going to be out of the playoffs too.
Yeah, if the Pelicans keep winning and the Lakers keep losing, it's going to go nasty fast.
Do you have your crystal ball out for today? Because there's some crystal ball things we need to talk about.
I can get it. Hold on. I think I left it in my other room.
Yeah, it's in my other jacket.
Ah, crap! I left the crystal ball.
So here's the first crystal ball question: if the Lakers don't make the playoffs, or even if they do at 9 or 10, and we're not calling them playoffs, we're calling them play-ins, but even if they do finish 9th or 10th and make the play-in game, are you gonna see the big three back next year in LA, or are we for sure gonna be without Russell Westbrook? Or are we for sure going to be? I mean, Anthony Davis gets hurt for half the season every season. He's not reliable. So it seems weird. It just seems like they should dismantle this experiment and do something else.
I think that Russell Westbrook will leave. Although I think Russell Westbrook needs to leave because the fans don't want him there. And it kind of seems like LeBron doesn't want him there anymore. So you need to go. Like, you just need to get out of here. Anthony Davis is under contract through 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got a lot of time left. I don't think he's as big of a problem. I just think he's only good for 40 games a year, 45 games a year. So you need to manage that a little better. He needs to play 2 games, then take 3 games off. But you can't do that now in this league.
Right.
The league has rules against it. You'll get big fines and punishments, and eventually start getting suspensions if you're taking resting games without an injury.
Right.
So if you're doing that to prevent injury, that's a problem. Which just goes to show how absolutely soft Anthony Davis is. And LeBron will be fine. LeBron James is. I mean, I'm kind of a little bummed about him because he's stat chasing right now. If you've ever accused Russell Westbrook of stat chasing, you have to jump in on LeBron. LeBron James is in this game in the fourth quarter, heaving up threes down 30.
Right.
What the hell is he doing in here? If you have any desire at a postseason run, why is LeBron James still playing in this game? You're not coming back in this game, and you never were going to. You were down 20 something for the better part of a quarter and a half, the second half of the game. But he's trying to get his 25 because he's chasing Kareem more than anybody I've ever seen chase a stat.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm that's the part about him I'm getting a little sick with. But I think the bigger question is, are the fans going to be happy with if they do come back, if any of them come back? Because they're booing them. They're yelling at them.
They did.
Lakers fans look like Philly fans right now.
Right.
It's pretty brutal, and they're not handling it well. Anthony Davis is arguing with fans. LeBron James is arguing with Laker fans. Like, how long are they going to put up with this crap, with the superstar crap, and have you lose? Doesn't last. Yes, people forget very fast that you won them a title in the bubble when it was all maybe a little fixed. But especially when Anthony Davis got an extra 6 months off to rehab injuries.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think it's going to look like this anymore. I think that at least Russell Westbrook will be gone. I think LeBron James and Anthony Davis will still be there, but they're going to kind of steer away from like this having a bunch of old superstars. I think Melo leaves. I think a couple other big pieces leave, and I think they try and get some of these younger talents that are trying to move and chase titles. So I could see a guy like a Harden,
right,
coming there to try and fill a space, and I think that would have been better than Westbrook ever would have. So
can we talk for just a minute about the Lakers and the fact that all of this, the badness that they're having right now, is coinciding with the HBO release of Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, which is coming here soon. And when I watch this, I looked at the guy, Quincy Isaiah, who's playing Magic Johnson. I looked at his picture and I go, okay, I'll buy that. He has a Magic Johnson-ish look to him. I'm okay with this. But then there's John C. Reilly, and I cannot watch John C. Reilly in a movie without thinking of Will Ferrell. I just cannot. They're tied together forever, and I won't do it. And so he doesn't look right. I expect him to be funny all the time. And then I saw who's playing Pat Riley, and it's Adrian Brody. And only because his hair slicks back nicely, I guess, because his nose is gigantic. And Adrian Brody's nose is gigantic. And that's all I can see on Adrian Brody's face, by the way, when he talks. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to watch it when it comes out. I want to see it because
it does look interesting. Yeah.
I lived through that. I know that. I mean, that stuff. So it'll be interesting to watch. I just find it funny that they're hitting their full downward spiral right about the time that HBO is gonna put. It couldn't be worse timing for HBO because I guess all the Lakers fans can watch that and be happier as opposed to the actual games. So anyway.
I don't know if you've met Lakers fans, but that's kind of their thing, is living in the past.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
So there's this guy. He's a sneakerhead, like podcaster, and he does a bunch of stuff. But his name is Jacques Slade, and he only refers to the Lakers as 17-time world champion Lakers.
Oh.
So anytime he's doing his podcast, he'll be talking about LeBron and his 17-time world champion Lakers, or this weekend LeBron dropped a new shoe and his 17-time world champion Lakers played this, and it's like, bro, just get out of the past. Get out of it.
He's got one, right?
LeBron James has one
of those,
but anytime he refers to the Lakers at all, like he talked about Magic Johnson the other day, he talked about this show the other day, and he referred to them as the 17-time world champion Lakers.
Right.
And it's like, all right, we get it. But the reason why you're thinking John C. Reilly, Will Ferrell is because this is an Adam McKay show.
Right.
Well, Adam McKay and Will Ferrell are currently beefing, I guess. Right. They're having issues.
He would have been in it somewhere.
Yeah, it's a basketball show about
LA
basketball, Southern California basketball, which is Will Ferrell's thing.
Right.
So, yeah, he would have been in it somewhere if it wasn't for whatever beef they got going on. But then he just brought in John C. Reilly.
Someone needs to next time that guy brings up the 17-time world champion Lakers, someone needs to say, let's talk about the 17-time world champion Celtics, who only lost 4 titles, but the Lakers have lost 15. Lakers had 32 chances to win 17. The Celtics have been in 21 finals and won 17.
Really?
Yeah. So there you go. Just saying. Let's.
Well, so that's the MJ LeBron argument, right? When you
Right.
start getting into titles, it's like, well, MJ's a perfect 100 in title opportunities,
Right.
and LeBron has had way more losses than wins.
Right. So anyway, there you go. And it's funny. Those two teams have been in the finals, have won 17 finals each. The Warriors have won 6, 3 of which have been in the last 7 years. And then the
So
Bulls
40 titles.
and the Bulls won 6, all
So
with
46.
Jordan.
46 of the 75 titles were won by 3 teams. So
Right.
74. This is the 75th season.
And the Spurs have 5.
Or wait, no, this isn't the 75th season, is it?
This
Because
is
they did the NBA 75 thing.
it's the so it's the 75th anniversary, 75th season since the start of the NBA Finals, which technically started with the BAA, the Basketball Association of America. So yeah, it is 75 seasons. So
Okay, so it's 75.
Yeah.
So in 75 years, we have 46 titles are between 4 teams.
right,
That's exciting.
yeah, it is. I mean, you still have
The Miami Heat have another 4.
you still have 5 current teams that haven't won a title. And then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 current teams that have won 1. So the half of the league has 1 title or none, and then everybody else has all the rest. So anyways, it's the haves and the have-nots. It's always been that way. Lakers, Celtics, Spurs, 76ers, those kind of teams. So
Big market versus small market.
it is, and the Lakers own a lot of that. They were in, even the ones they didn't win, they were in the finals. So
Right.
yeah, what are you gonna do? Anyway, let's move on
Moving
from
on.
basketball. Let's talk about NCAA basketball. Shall we?
Cool. Like I said, let's move on from basketball. Let's talk about NCAA basketball.
Move on from NBA basketball. Move on from the boring basketball. This is more exciting. I like watching college basketball better than I do watching NBA because anything can happen. University of Oregon men's basketball team lost 4 of their last 6. They're now listed outside the bubble. They're in the next 4 out category if you look at Joe Lunardi's bracketology, which I advise you not to. But they're squarely needing something, help. They need wins badly to get in.
They're such a weird place.
They're 18-11. They're 4th in the Pac-12, tied with Colorado for 4th in the Pac-12. They beat UCLA 68-63. They lost to USC on a last-second shot, so 70-69. Well, Oregon had a chance to win it, but there's now just 2 games left. That's Washington and at Washington State. Those are the last 2 games of the regular season. They've already beaten both those teams on the road, at home this year. So now they're playing them on the road. Those are going to be tough. Those are not easy teams to beat. They're middle-of-the-road teams, too, so you don't know what you're going to get. Oregon wins both of those. They'll get a first-round bye in the Pac-12 tournament. I'm not sure that's great. I honestly would like to play the first round and get a win.
Get momentum.
Get momentum and add a win to your team total.
That's true.
Because it would
but we can't afford to lose either of the last 2 games.
No.
So you don't want to lose them, and then
at the sake of getting a win. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not a great look either. But they're in a bad spot. They need to do is they need to get to the Pac-12 championship game in the tournament. If they can get to the championship game and play Arizona, they'll have a chance to get it. As one of those last, those play-in guys, one of the first 4 teams maybe. So who knows? But that's just my prediction. They have to get there.
They're just a weird team to look at because on the one hand you want to go, oh, only 18-11, that's not great. And then you start looking at their wins and you go, dang, those are a lot of good wins in there on the road at Colorado, and then you have USC and UCLA, earlier in this year on the road. And then you start looking at their losses.
There's some bad ones.
Some of them are awful. Early season, there was a lot of awful losses.
Well,
and then their recent losses, you go, well, what happened at Cal? What happened to Arizona State? But it was a 1-score game each against number 3 Arizona and USC, number 15 USC or whatever they were at the time. So it's like, I don't understand who you are. How are you playing Arizona so tough, but dropping Arizona State and Cal?
Yeah, they lost both games at Arizona State.
I don't
one
understand.
Of them,
I think it's just a matchup issue.
That game against Cal was ridiculous. I mean,
it was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. The early loss to Stanford. Stanford's not a bad basketball team. They're just not great.
But pretty much you can say since they hit that turnaround, even though they're 4-6, 4-6, 4 of 6 or whatever it is, they've lost 4 of 6.
Yeah.
Even though ever since that turnaround early season,
Yeah.
they've been substantially better with the a couple drops here and there, and even in every big game they're playing it close.
Yeah, they're a Jekyll and Hyde kind of team. They play the good teams well, and they don't necessarily show up for the bad teams.
Yeah, they play up and down to competition.
Yeah. So Oregon has what? 1, 2, 3. Oregon has 3 wins over top 25 teams.
Right.
But they also have lost to Arizona, USC, Baylor,
and
yep. Houston. So they're 3-4 against top 25 teams.
And that Houston game we got smoked.
Yeah.
All the other ones are tight. Those are tight games. Baylor game was
tight.
Yeah. They're Arizona all close, and USC were tight.
They played them hard. I mean, it's not like they got blown out by any of those teams either. So that was, they're a couple of baskets away from being,
Yeah.
I honestly will tell you, had they beat USC, right? That's a 1-possession game at the end of the game. If they beat USC and then win either that Arizona State or California game recently, that's 2 more wins. You're looking at a 20-9 team, and they'll be squarely in.
Yeah, they'll be just on the other side.
So
I do think they can win the last 2 and then win at least 2 games in the tournament, maybe 3 games in the tournament before, even if they lose the final or whatever. Right. And I think they'll still get in. They
beat Washington by 28 at home earlier this year.
Their biggest win over Washington ever.
Yeah, and then they beat Washington State by 3.
So the question is Washington looking for revenge?
Yeah, well, of course they're. Washington's fighting for. I don't know what they're fighting for. Washington's 14-14. They're not going to get in the NCAA tournament, but.
Gosh, they want that NIT bid.
You're going to get an NIT bid probably. Washington State and Washington, I would imagine. Colorado too. And if Oregon doesn't make the tournament, they'll get in for sure. That would be a dangerous NIT team, Oregon.
Yeah, that's a. I mean, I'm not gonna care if Oregon wins the NIT tournament. It's
no,
gonna
not
be
really.
a weird whoop doo doo, but yeah, that would be an interesting thing because again, they're gonna play up and down to their competition.
Yeah,
and if that could go really bad for that tournament, they could just wreck it.
Saturday was a bad day. Interesting day for if you're a top 10 team. Saturday was the day. 7 of the 8 top 10 teams in action on Saturday lost. All of them on the road, by the way. Number 23 St. Mary's beat number 1 Gonzaga 67-57. And I know you've watched Gonzaga play, and I know that they keep hyping me, telling me how good Chet Holmgren is. But does he not look like he's one twisted ankle away from snapping his leg in half? The guy's a toothpick.
Yeah, but then again, I've said the same thing about Bol. I said the same thing about Chris Boucher. I said the same thing about KD when he was in college. Like they look tiny, but it doesn't seem to matter, Okay. My thing is, I don't think he looks that smooth.
No.
Everyone thinks he looks like super. Oh, he's got this great jump shot and he does all this stuff, and it's like, I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see that value the way everyone else sees it. But also, I see him doing it against crap teams.
Right, and that's the question is when you put a guy like that out there. I mean, he's tall and he's lanky and he blocks shots and I know he's athletic, but he's super skinny. And is he going to be able to handle the size of a LeBron playing defense on him? Because LeBron's going to out muscle him. He's going to have to do something else. He can't just go inside because there's just no way. And all those Luka Doncic is huge. He's a big guy. These are big players. They just have massive bodies. That's the way the NBA is going. They're not only big, they're athletic too. This guy's athletic, but he's not that big. It's going to scare me. I don't think that he's.
I just don't see him even being that successful against like a Timmy,
right?
Like the guy on his same team. I feel like if those two get into a situation in an NBA game where Chet's got to work Timmy, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. All right, that's enough Gonzaga talk.
Yeah, forget Gonzaga.
Colorado beat number 2 Arizona 79-63. Just hammered them.
Dude, that at Colorado, man, that place
is a tough place. Oregon always loses a game at Colorado. They didn't this year.
It's the first time we've ever won at Colorado.
Yeah.
Ever.
That is
in
a tough place
of our basketball.
Number 17 Tennessee beat number 3 Auburn 67-62. Michigan State beat number 4 Purdue 68-65. Number 10 Baylor beat number 5 Kansas 80-70. Number 18 Arkansas beat number 6 Kentucky 75-73. And TCU beat Texas Tech, number 9 Texas Tech 69-66. All of those road losses. The only team that won on the road in the top 10 was number 7 Duke, who crushed Syracuse 97-72. And Duke, by virtue of all that, Duke became number 2.
Yeah.
Like that, or number 3, I think. No, I think but Baylor number 2, and Duke is number 3. And I'm like, these teams just shot up. They moved. Yeah, it was Baylor. They moved up Baylor from 10 to like 2 or 3 in the rankings. And I'm like, really? So all those teams, because they lost a road game, were worse than Baylor? All right. Yeah, Baylor moved up to 3 from 10. They moved up 7 spots. That's ridiculous.
And Duke jumped 3 spots. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how you're going to sit here and tell me Purdue, who loses, a game.
Right.
Right. I mean, I guess they technically they've done a couple things lately. They've had some down times. But yeah, last week they lose one of 2 games. They beat Rutgers and lose to Michigan State, and that's enough to go, all right, get down.
Right.
That's too much. That's too much losing. But that's just because they're trying to position Coach K for his final year, for that big run in the NCAA tournament. Let's get him a high seed. Let's help him out the best we can. Let's make it a thing. Like they're gonna make this. ESPN's forcing this issue hard.
Right. Murray State. Murray State has lost to East Tennessee State, which I don't know what that game was about. That was the 4th game of the season. They lost to East Tennessee, and then they lost to Auburn by 13 at Auburn, right?
Right.
Who we know is one of the top 10 teams, and then won 18 straight basketball. All of their conference games, they're perfect 18-0 in the conference. They're 28-2 overall. They're playing in the Ohio Valley Conference tournament that is this weekend. Saturday will be the championship game of the Ohio Valley Conference tournament, and it's probably going to be Murray State and Belmont. If you want to watch a good basketball game, that's going to be a good basketball game.
Except for the fact that last time Murray State played Belmont, they beat them 76-43.
They were saving it up.
Smoked.
There was no reason to win that game because they weren't going to win the conference, so they were already behind by 3 games.
Oh, so. You think Belmont was like, all right, rest the guys?
Yep, I would have. I wouldn't.
Did they actually?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have come out. I might have come out and played hard and see where it went, and then said, "Nah, the rest of the game, nah, let's just not worry about it because we're going to get them again." All
right, guys,
point.
2 hours. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
No one get hurt.
Yeah, no one get hurt. That's right. That's right.
I really hope that more coaches do that. It's like, all right, we cannot do anything with this. 2 hours. I want to be on the bus.
And I'm not sure the Ohio Valley Conference has ever had 2 teams in the NCAA tournament, but they are looking like they might do that this year.
And that's going to come at the expense of Oregon.
And that it would come at it's going to come at the expense of somebody. But yeah, they're going to steal a bid is what's going to happen.
The question is, if Murray State and Oregon played today, who are you taking?
Murray State.
You'd take Murray State over Oregon?
Absolutely. Woo! Murray State is good. That is a good basketball team. And
if they're good and you believe that Oregon plays up and down, then that means that Oregon will be good in that game.
Well, that's true, but I don't think they're good enough to beat them. I think Murray State is a Elite 8 team.
Really?
Yep. I think Murray State is an Elite 8 team.
Are you going to put that, are you going to crystal ball that now and say that that's going to happen this year?
Sure.
Woo, Murray State, Elite 8. I will root for Murray State all the way.
It's going to depend a lot on where they get seeded by the tournament, because the tournament committee always tends to seed these teams that win, like the Ohio Valley, no higher than 15 or 14. But this is a 12 seed team. This is a team that should be a 12. And if you can get in if they can be, 12's not where you want to be, because then you got to play number 1 somewhere. But 13's where you want to be. If you can get in as a 13, you'll be on the 2 side of the bracket. And I know that there's a good chance that you're going to be, that you can get to that point. That's all I'm saying. It gives you a good chance to win.
They're going to put them in the bracket with Duke.
Oh, probably.
And you're about to watch some shenanigans go down.
Sure. Anyway, that'll be a great matchup. Everybody will love that. Except that you want the best teams playing at the end. You don't want them playing at the beginning. Anyway, let's move on. So second half of the show, I guess we're already at the second half. Let me just make one comment about the NBA before we move on from basketball.
Sure.
Is John Morant the best player in the NBA right now?
Is he fun to watch or what?
Yeah. I mean,
he is exciting. All those things that you see people do in all-star games with no defense, he does in regular games with defense. And it's incredible.
Yeah, he's averaging 27.6 points a game, 7th in the league, 6.6 assists, 5.9 rebounds. He turns the ball over a little. There's that. But he also averages 1.2 steals. He's a 34% three-point shooter. Not great, but good.
Good enough. Serviceable.
Good enough. Yeah, I mean,
work on it this offseason.
He's almost a point-a-minute guy. 27 points. He averages 33 minutes a game. So
he's good.
He's good. I mean,
he's really fun to watch.
Yeah,
and that team is fun to watch because they look like they were built the right way.
Did you see the catch and shoot that he had last? Was it last night?
Yeah,
The
I mean
cat.
we call that garbage, but you know.
Well, I mean, but you have to have some skill to be able to catch the ball at the
Yeah,
other end of the court on a full length. I mean, that guy threw the ball 90 feet, right? And
they do that 100 times and he makes it 2.
he caught it and turned and while in the air, all in the air. I was like,
It was impressive,
whoa.
yeah.
The dunk,
And then he threw down the dunk on the Pirtle, yeah.
the dunk, I'm not that impressed with. The dunks are dunks. These are NBA players. I'm not impressed. If it's Spud Webb, yeah, that's impressive.
Well,
If it's him, okay,
but
but that's what he
even then
does.
he's deciding to like he sees Jakob Pirtle
Yeah,
standing there and he's like, I'm just gonna do it anyways.
yeah, I know.
And he does that way more than anybody else I've ever seen.
It's
Where he's
okay.
like, I'm just gonna go ahead and dunk this, and then people are like, why would you do that? That guy's huge.
If you didn't see it, he had 52 points last night. In their 118-105 victory over San Antonio. Yeah, he was unstoppable. Just literally unstoppable. 22 of 30 from the floor. Anyway, yeah, go watch the highlights.
Very, very good.
So yeah, right. I mean, almost more than very, very good, which I don't even know what there is. So my computer's doing some weird things here, and we're trying to figure out why this isn't working.
Technical difficulties.
There we go. Now it's starting to feel like it's.
We gotta have that elevator music when there's technical difficulties. Like,
I do need the girl from Ipanema. I need that.
Is that the name of the song?
Yeah, that's what you want to hear, right? Hold on. I don't have it, but I'm gonna get it. And
girl from Ipanema.
Yeah, let's see if we can have it play. But you want the Muzak version of it, right? Is really what you want. You don't want the words, but this is. Let's see if we can play it. See if it can.
Do you think any of us will look back in our lives and regret?
That's an ad.
Yeah, you got to go through that just to get the.
Oh, I know this song. I know what you're talking about.
That's the.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That's the Portuguese version.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah.
It just has this. I need the Muzak version where it doesn't have any of the words. So that makes it more exciting. But yeah, that's what you want to play. That's that. Technical difficulties. And I need one of those old timey signs. Says "Pardon the interruption." Right.
Interesting.
I think we should do that.
Yeah, we'll find someone. We'll put it on there, and that way, when we're having an issue, it's just do.
Which is better than what I want to do, which is this. So, second half of the show brought to you by Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Be sure to tune into BossKittyLive.com for knit-alongs, exclusive sales, games and fun. Go on to BossKittyShop.com and get your DK and fingering weight yarns as well as stitch and progress markers. If you're looking for a gift, get them a Boss Kitty Shop virtual gift card and let them pick it out themselves. That's Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Yarn so boss, you'll knit your pants. So, we have the second half of the show, which is going to talk about some stuff. Are you ready to talk about stuff? Things and stuff? First thing we're going to talk about in the second half of the show is the USFL. Former USFL owners, a group of former team owners and executives from the original USFL is suing Fox Sports, trying to halt the launch of the new USFL, alleging that it's inappropriately using the old league's branding. It says that trademark infringement, false advertising, and false association. Saying that they didn't properly obtain the use of the league's trademarks and other intellectual property, and that they're putting out an unabashed counterfeit. That's what they said. Anyway, it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, it might be dead before it starts. You never know. So
might never happen. Yeah.
And it would not surprise me to have Fox Sports said, "Oh, we're gonna." Just use the old stuff, and this is a new league because blah, 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 and not get permission. That wouldn't surprise me because, it costs a lot of money to get permission.
Yeah, and it costs a lot of money to get sued as well.
It does. Either way, I mean, there'll be a settlement or something. Sure, but
all that money they saved not getting permission, now they got to spend on lawyers.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Are you going to spend? Is it going to cost more to do it this way, or would it have been better to do the other way? That's the question.
Yeah, I think it would have been better to do it the other way and just ask people for permission. But I kind of don't understand if it's a league that failed, and there was a person who owns the league.
Yeah.
And then they sell the league, and somebody else buys the league and changes hands or whatever. I don't understand why why it's a problem.
Yeah.
So I think what you're seeing is the people. if this wasn't going to make any money, if this wasn't going to be valuable in some way, people wouldn't care. Because
Right.
there's no value in suing them.
Right.
But if they think, but no, now they got this big deal with Fox, these games are going to be broadcast, there's going to be money, there's going to be ad dollars.
Right.
Well, we need to get a piece of this.
Sure. I mean, I would have said the same thing.
I think this is more a greedy move than it is a move that makes sense, or it is a move that that is actually based on, well, they're using our names and blah blah blah.
Right.
I don't care about that. They just want to make sure they get their cut.
Correct. Yeah, that's what it is. But does Fox Sports have enough money?
Yes.
Okay.
Fox has enough money.
Are they willing
to deal with this?
Are they willing to deal with it?
That's to an extent.
Depends on how much money they've invested in it already.
Right. I mean, yeah, if you've already put in, $500 million to get this thing off the ground, what's another, what's another 15, 20 million to deal with these owners?
Right. Anyway, let's get out. Like I said, we're going to get out. So I've got these in the wrong order, but that's okay. MLB is still in a lockout.
That reminds me of you ever see Super Troopers, and when he's giving a little morning briefing and he's talking to all the people, and he goes, "Farva, your suspension continues." And then that's for the update for him.
Yep.
The lockout continues.
Basically, they're still, but they had a big day yesterday. Apparently, they talked for 16 hours yesterday. I mean, I don't know how many breaks there were in there, but they couldn't have talked for 16 hours straight. I mean, that'd be some sort of record. But basically went into this morning, and they're going to resume talks at 11 a.m. Eastern time today, which is only, it's soon. What is that?
It's any minute.
It's now. They literally have probably started now talking. But they're supposed to be closer. I don't know. But that deadline they had of yesterday saying if we don't have a deal done by yesterday, it's going to affect the start of the regular season. Of course, that was a soft deadline. And so now we've changed the deadline to today at 5. I don't know. I mean, I still don't know if they're going to get a deal done.
Change it again.
I can't tell you if that's a thing or not, but yeah, we'll guess we'll find out, huh? So anyway, MLB lockout. The update is there's no update, really. There's your
lockout continues.
There's your quick MLB update. And most of the stadiums will look like this. In case you can't even see it anymore because I haven't even shared it with you, huh? Anyway, this empty stadium here, that's what they'll look like.
Right.
Let's talk about your crystal ball. You got it out?
Yeah, hold on, let me find out. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Okay. Nope, never mind. We're not talking about that yet. Hold on to your crystal ball.
Psych. Put the crystal ball
These
away.
are all in a weird order. My slides are all out of order, and I have no idea why. So in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, some sports have decided to cancel events that were going to be held in Russia, or move them to other locations. Russian Grand Prix has been canceled by F1, the FIA. So that's number one. So they're down a race. UEFA Champions League final was moved from Moscow to Paris. Volleyball's governing body, the FIVB, has moved the first 2 rounds of the Volleyball Nations League from Russia, and it's monitoring the situation to see if they need to move the Men's World Championship, which is supposed to be later this year. The IOC has urged other sports bodies to exclude the country's athletes and officials from international events. FIFA has said it plans to ban Russia from the World Cup soccer. The International Hockey Federation, and this is Vladimir's sport, so has said they are going to plan to ban Russia from international competition. FIFA has already said they're going to take them out of the World Cup. Did I say that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. International Tennis Federation has suspended tennis tournaments in both the Ukraine and Russia. The Ukraine one was based on security, obviously. Yeah. I mean, it would add a degree of difficulty to the tennis match.
Ooh.
Right? If you want an interesting sports, that's one. Yeah, and then the International Ice Skating has said that the Russian athletes won't be able to compete in their events, which means to include the World Championships for that. So the Russian figure skaters who just won gold, nope, sorry, you won't be on the World Championships. So there's that. There's a lot of things going on. It's a moving, fluid situation, but I think a lot of things that you would have taken place in Russia, it's going to hit them hard economically. And for Vladimir, who I have to share everything with you, right? Because if you don't see it, you won't appreciate it. But Vladimir, who's on the screen now, is a big sports guy. In case you didn't know, and I'm going to show you some pictures. So he's clearly judo. He had a black belt in judo. It was an honorary black belt issued to him. I don't know how you get that, but he had an honorary black belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly he can play soccer, badminton. Here's him doing the butterfly in a river.
It's cool.
Yeah. This is him bowling,
Bowling's a big one.
boxing, and we got a different guy. He's almost the same. Almost same. That's our next sport story. Anyway, it's going to affect Vladimir more than anybody. I think he's the one who loves the sports, right? I don't even have the hockey pictures of him. I had a hockey picture of him playing hockey, and I don't even have that. That's his favorite sport. So, I think that if Hockey Federation says no, that's going to really get to him. That's how you do the sanctions, right? It's not the economic sanctions. It's telling him that his team can't play hockey here. Anyway, we'll monitor more.
We'll monitor.
I mean, it's all we can do. It's going to change as we go through the year, and those two sides are negotiating still too. So we'll see what.
I don't know how I feel about like the suspension. I'm agreeing with all the suspension of events and things like that. I don't know how I feel about the suspension of athletes from sports, but that only comes with the caveat of I need you to publicly state that you disagree.
And they won't. They can't.
It can't. It's a little dangerous to do that.
Yeah.
Against a dictator. So
you disappear.
Yeah, that's how that happens. Ask China. Anybody that's ever come, any Chinese athletes ever come out against China's.
Yeah.
You don't hear about them no more. So, but again, that's your call. That's your call. You know,
that's why you're living there. So
that's what everyone's talking about. Nikita Mazepin from F1. They're saying, you know, should he be suspended because his father's connected and things like that, and so they're wondering if he should be suspended or not suspended, just removed. I guess is the better way to think about that because you're not in trouble, but also, you're getting punished. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, nah, don't get rid of him, but he needs to say this, and if he won't say this, then that's his choice. He doesn't have to, but that's aligning yourself. That's choosing to align yourself in one way or another, whether that be for personal safety or not. That's still your choice.
Right.
So, and don't get me wrong. You're a F1 driver. You make millions of dollars. You can live anywhere. You could have a long time ago, changed your citizenship.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well.
Kind of crazy. It's wild, but yeah, I think that get rid of all the events in Russia and don't take them back.
And the bigger concern for most of these events, for most of the people, the reason they're banning the athletes is because you don't know who's on their staff. You can't vouch for or verify, that they're not. That tennis player might be a Russian spy. We don't know.
He's getting a lot of information on that court.
I mean, if they're going to play in Ukraine, then he would, right? But anyway, so nope, wrong one. So let's go back. Your crystal ball's out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let me get to the right spot. This is ridiculous that I had to go do this again because it's all messed up today. It is.
You clicked one too far.
Before. And then I can't go just back one. So here's the question. Here's your NFL update. It's a yes or no question. Okay. Yes or no questions, and there's going to be 7 of them. Aaron Rodgers is a Green Bay Packer next year. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Jimmy Garoppolo plays quarterback for the 49ers next year.
Yes.
Ooh. Carson Wentz is the quarterback in Indianapolis next year.
No.
Kyler Murray is the quarterback in Arizona next year.
No.
Ooh. Baker Mayfield's the quarterback in Cleveland next year.
Yes.
Mason Rudolph is the quarterback in Pittsburgh next year.
Briefly. I'm going to say yes.
And I didn't
start the season.
And I didn't even say starting quarterback, just a quarterback in Pittsburgh. I mean, because I feel like he's trade bait at this. Well, anyway, we'll talk about it. Russell Wilson's a quarterback in Seattle next year.
Yes.
And Tom Brady stays retired.
Through 1 year, yes.
For 1 year?
Yeah.
You think he'll come back after a year?
I think so.
All right.
Take a year off, breathe,
go
to the beach.
So if Carson Wentz is the only one, well, you have Carson Wentz and Kyler Murray moving.
Yeah.
Where? And who replaces them is the question. Let's start with Carson Wentz. If he moves from Indianapolis, who's going to take Carson Wentz? Are you just going to say they're going to get rid of him because he's no good?
I think they're getting rid of him because he's no good. I think that there's backups floating around. I think Jordan Love is floating around out there that could use a new team. Teddy Bridgewater's going to need a new team. I don't think they're going to. I'm not necessarily saying that they're going to upgrade their positions. I just think they're going to lose those guys.
Okay.
Or whether it be because they fire him or get rid of him or cut him. But I think they're going to cut Carson Wentz, and I think that Kyler Murray is going to leave the Cardinals. And I don't know. I don't know who's going to replace him necessarily.
After this round of Kyler Murray nonsense, I mean, it's not nonsense, but that's what he called it, right? After the nonsense, who's going to want him? I mean,
everyone's going to want him. People, okay. He hasn't. He's not in trouble for any sort of criminal thing.
No.
His stats are decent. Yeah. I think he'll be fine. He just wants to be paid.
He
he wants to be paid now, even though he's got years left on his contract.
He just seems like he's headed down that Antonio Brown route of it's going to be a head case thing because you're going to blame me for losing. And yeah, we did blame you for losing the playoff game. You were terrible in the playoff game. Terrible. I mean, and if you can't shoulder the burden of I'm the quarterback and I'm responsible for how bad the offense was, you're not going to be around very long because nobody's.
The difference between Antonio Brown is obviously he can't throw himself the ball. He has to get the ball. Somebody has got to get him the ball.
It's true.
If we're losing playoff games, Antonio Brown can blame somebody else.
It's true.
Because he's probably not getting the ball. Kyler Murray, yes, needs a shoulder to blame. But I think what you're seeing is that Kyler Murray's capped out. I think that he's not going to get any better in this league.
Period.
I think he's as good as you're going. This is as good a product as you're going to get, and that product is not necessarily the best product. So before things get any worse, because they always get worse, you always go downhill at some point. He wants to try and get paid. He wants to try and make his money while people are still a little schmitten with him, and before it gets too late. Because I mean, Russell Wilson came on the scene hot. Took a team to a Super Bowl or two. In the first 4 years, they played for 2 Super Bowls. Since then, they haven't done crap.
Is Tom Brady going to be on my TV next year? Is he going to be an announcer for somebody?
Oh no, sorry. That's.
I mean, he's going to be on the TV no matter what. But
gonna. I was just gonna say he's gonna end up on your TV. But I think he'll do like guest announcing. Like he'll do like the Manning broadcasts. Because that would be great to watch the Manning brothers with Tom Brady a couple games a year.
It would be more fun, especially if you can get like Colts, Patriots, Colts, Buccaneers, Giants, Patriots games. You know, I mean, have them Giants Patriots games would be awesome to watch Eli and Tom go at it because Eli's got the upper hand, and I like that.
And I like that Tom Brady's calm now, more calm. So he stopped kind of giving an F last year and the year before, so I'm more curious to hear him talk now because he doesn't care. He's got nothing left to prove.
Right. All right, so let's move on to the main event, what we're going to talk about next, which is going to be Formula One. Formula. That's right. So these are going to cycle through, but these are the new cars, the new F1 cars for this year, the 2022 liveries too. A lot of the colors. Some of them are fantastic. I do like the Alpine car with the pink on it. Not the solid pink, but the blue with the pink.
I like that they have both options.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's alternate uniform, right?
Right.
I do like the Aston Martin car still. I love that green.
Very cool.
The trim of the yellow is pretty cool. I don't know. I haven't decided. I like the silver Mercedes.
The silver Mercedes is slick looking.
Yeah, that's a good looking car.
I really like the Ferrari.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm not a huge fan of the red, boring car, but it just came out looking slick.
Yeah, and it's funny.
The new shape helps.
It's funny because you look at the cars and they look so different. I mean, they are.
They're dramatically
different, especially different from last year, but almost different from each other. A lot of the parts,
a bunch of little things, like all the front wings on all the cars are almost different, and Aston Martin is clearing the ground by like 3 or 4 inches more than the other one. It's pretty wild.
The ground effects also are a big deal, and
all the side pods is kind of like the big discussion. Every side pod on the cars are different.
So the word that sprang up this week in terms of the cars, and I haven't even gotten all the way through the cars. We're still on Red Bull, so there's still a couple more cars.
Red Bull was probably the least exciting looking change.
I think because of the blue color,
it's kind of
hides. Yeah, it hides everything.
Well, which one do you think was the best of the new liveries?
I like the Alpine blue with the pink, and I like that Mercedes silver.
Right.
Just because they look different than last year. Right. The Williams Racing with the checkered pattern kind of on the side looks pretty good too. Those are
I
my
think
favorites.
I think that the Williams Racing is the prettiest looking. Now, whether or not they're going to be successful is a whole other story. I think the Williams Racing is the prettiest one. I think the Red Bull one is the least exciting one, but that's because it just doesn't change that much. And I think that the most dramatic looking one, the one that's got like the most going on, is the Ferrari one.
Yeah.
The Ferrari one is kind of the craziest looking car, and what they did with some of their stuff. But yeah, I think the Williams one actually came out, like when I saw the pictures of the Williams one, I was like, ooh, this is a gorgeous looking car.
Right.
And I really like the McLaren one too, because they're kind of using that old blue instead of that dark blue.
Yeah. And so if you didn't watch, where we left it last year was Max Verstappen beating Lewis Hamilton in a one-lap race, basically, for the points championship.
Literally, the entire season could have just not happened.
Right.
We could have just done one lap.
Yeah. and so we have some new drivers, we don't have a whole lot of new drivers. We have two new drivers, although one's an old driver. Anyway, let's talk about this for a minute. So we have drivers in new locations. Valtteri Bottas is at Alfa Romeo, right?
Yeah.
And that's a dramatic change for him, but he gets a chance to be a lead driver, albeit it's Alfa Romeo. But he has a Chinese counterpart. Is it Zhu or Zhao? How do you pronounce that?
I have no clue. Probably should have done research.
Guan Yu. So his first Chinese F1 driver in history, first full-time F1 driver. Anyway, as he came from F2. So those two together, it'll be interesting to see how that affects. It's two new drivers for Alfa Romeo. They had two brand new drivers. And I think Valtteri Bottas is a good driver. It's going to depend on the car.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether the car can handle it.
Right. Alex Albon is back. He's at Williams. He's replacing George Russell, who left Williams. So he's with Nicholas Latifi. Latifi's going to be the number one, and Albon's the number two. I thought Alex Albon was a pretty good driver, and he got kind of hosed in the whole lost in the shuffle. Had some bad luck, too, at Red Bull. So, anyway, it'll be interesting to see how that team plays out. The rest of the teams, George Russell moved to Mercedes, and he replaced Valtteri Bottas. And so those you kind of swapped around. That's your only major changes in the lineup.
Interesting.
Who do you see as the winner of that? Is it Mercedes? Because everyone seemed to think George Russell last year was going to be that guy. I don't know that he's as good as Valtteri Bottas, a driver.
Well, I agree with that statement. I think the winner this year is the Red Bull teams. The fact that they've managed to stay, they managed to keep. AlphaTauri managed to keep our French guy, Pierre Gasly and Tsunoda. Because Pierre Gasly should be racing with Max Verstappen right now.
He probably
Pierre Gasly is way better than Sergio Perez. Yeah. Sergio Perez is a great wingman, but if you want two people actually competing for titles on the same team,
and I'm not
which
sure.
you might not want. Yeah.
I'm just sure they do, I was going to say.
But those two are the best. Of those four guys that you're looking at there, those two are the best. So they're the real winners, because one way or another, Red Bull gets to kind of work other people. But I think when you're talking about the guys that moved around, I think that George Russell coming to Mercedes, I think that was a move because I think Valtteri was getting tired of having to, promote Lewis.
Right.
But I mean, that's the point of the team. That's how you slingshot. I mean, there's a whole Talladega Nights movie based on this whole concept of one guy wanting. I was wondering if every once in a while, I could win one.
Right.
How would I win?
Right.
I'm excited to see him go somewhere, but I do think that George Russell is going to be a much better teammate, at least for now, for Lewis Hamilton. And if you're a better teammate for Lewis Hamilton, then his chances of winning go up. And they're with that car, with the cars that they have, although I don't know because it's not the same car. But if what has in the past has happened, if the car is good, they're going to be extremely successful because of that, because they are going to work as a team to help Lewis win.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe George gets out early and starts winning, and then they look at Lewis and go, "Bro, we need you to support your guy because he's going to kill it." But yeah, I think that Mercedes kind of looks like they look like a winner in all of it, but I think it's kind of a lateral move. I think Valtteri and George Russell. I think Valtteri's the better driver, but George Russell is going to be the more obedient driver.
So. The gentleman on the screen right now is Eduardo Freitas. He's was the director of FIA World Endurance Championship. He and this gentleman right here, well, that's Michael Massey. They're out of order. This gentleman right here, again, everything's out of order, is Niels Wittich. And he was the director of the Deutsche Tourenwagenmasters, which is the DTM race in Germany. Also, it's an F1 thing. But those two guys are going to take over the responsibility of Michael Massey, who was relieved as race director at the end, during the off season.
Just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So I don't know what that means in terms of they're going to share responsibilities. Are there going to be two guys on there? But I do know this: we're not going to hear any of those pleasing British voices come on the radio and go, Michael, because that's what happened all last year. And I really think I love listening to the drivers talk to the pit, but I did not like listening to the complaints. I mean,
it's so predictable, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You knew what they were going to complain about.
They seem like children.
They do.
Constantly complaining and bickering and blah, blah, blah. And Michael has to take these calls for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't understand why he
and
can't
listen
just...
to Toto go, Michael, what are you doing?
Sorry, you've reached the radio of race director Michael Massey. I'd love to talk to you right now, but I'm directing a race.
Well, it's good. It's not a terrible thing with the controversy that ended last year and what the FIA has come out and said about applications of rules. It's not the worst idea to have maybe two people to check each other.
Or two people to blame. I mean,
two people to blame, two people to check each other. But
maybe.
If one person goes, I think we should do it this way, the other person goes, I don't think that's the right move.
Right.
That's not how I read this. Whereas before it was kind of, unilateral control by one person, right? I mean, we always criticize soccer for only having one referee. Well, Formula One had one referee.
Yeah, I don't understand why they don't have more than one.
So having
referee.
multiple allows for multiple eyes, multiple opinions. That can lead to a little longer discussions, but also it could lead to a more clear, more effective thing. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know that. I think it's some things are a little, punishments are too ambiguous in the sport.
Right.
But I'm not sure how much value it's going to have.
So the big news this week, out of training, not training. What do you want to call it? Testing in Barcelona was porpoising. Do you know anything about porpoising? Porpoising.
I watched a couple of videos on it.
So did I. I had to read up on porpoising when I saw the name. I was like, what? And it's basically the bouncing up and down of the car as it goes down a straight stretch. So
it's intentional.
Right, but they're trying to minimize it.
Right.
The bouncing.
Well, sometimes because you can throw dirty air out there.
Right. But whoever gets it under control fastest is going to have an advantage this year. But it's one of those things that they're talking about because the amount of porpoising was too much, I think. And they were trying to figure out how to get a little less bounce. Porpoising. And I was like, I get it. Like a dolphin goes, I get it. But it's just weird. Yeah, not dolphining, porpoising. Anyway, so that was the thing.
I just call that driving on Portland roads.
I mean,
your head's just bouncing
up and down. You can't do anything about it, right? You got no choice. So they're going to Bahrain International Circuit. They're going to do testing next week. I think it's next week, and then the March 20th is when the actual season starts. That's the Sunday race is on the 20th, qualifying on the 19th.
We're 19 days away from race number one.
It's right around the corner.
I'm so excited.
Last season at Bahrain, Lewis Hamilton won, Max Verstappen second, Valtteri Bottas was third. Like you saw all of 2020.
Right.
That was like every race in 2020.
Or Max Verstappen won, Lewis Hamilton second,
right.
Valtteri Bottas third.
Yeah. So anyway, so we'll see what happens, and that is going to bring us to the trivia question. The Stave and Stone trivia question, which no, it's not the Stave and Stone. What is it? The Best Lamb Sports Show trivia question brought to you by Stave and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River.
That's too much.
It seems long, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think people know they're listening to the Best Lamb Sports Show by this point.
We got to have a name for it. We got to come up with a better name for it then. It could just be the Stave and Stone trivia question, but it sounds too, it needs something. It needs I don't know. Homework. That's your job. Your homework is to work on that. So you go see them at the winery at the Vineyard, 3827 Fletcher Drive, or downtown tasting room at 210 Oak Street in Hood River. You can call them 541-946-3750. That's 541-WINE-750 for more information or to get a reservation. You can also email them.
That was a new one.
What? What happened?
We lost connection for a second.
Whoa, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, my call dropped. That has not happened in a long time.
Oh, well, you're still here. I can still hear you, so that's good.
Oh, there you go. Sorry about that. But from my end, so it sounds like we cut off, and then I come back, and it's like ringing and things like that. You don't hear any of that?
Nope, didn't hear a bit of that.
Oh.
So it's just you.
Weird.
I don't know.
Sorry
I don't
about
know.
that.
I don't know.
Didn't interrupt.
No worries.
It just threw me way off because it hasn't happened in a long time.
No worries.
Ladies and gentlemen, technical difficulties. What's new?
Yeah, where's my song? Where's my Ipanema? Anyway,
Technical
we'll work on that too. I'll work on that part. Yeah, anyway, email them info@stavenstone.com for more information or a reservation. Stavenstone, that's Wines with Personality. So the trivia question was, if you weren't here, it's going to be the 18th running of the Bahrain Grand Prix. How many times in the previous 17 races has the winner of the Bahrain Grand Prix gone on to win the Formula One Drivers' Championship for that same season? Do you have a guess?
I'm going to go clean 17 for 17.
It is not 17 for 17. But it is 11.
I feel like it was a bold guess.
It is a bold, but it is
that's
11. 11 of the 17 times the winner has gone on to win the Drivers' Championship. So if you're looking for a head start, I mean, you could have called the season over 11 times out of the last 17 times it's run there. It's over. Whoever wins that's done. They're the champion. That seems like a high percentage, which just goes to show you that the better teams win more races, and they're consistently better all year long. It doesn't just fluctuate. And you'd think that race one would be one of those races where anybody could win, because we're still trying to figure crap out, but apparently that's not true. So anyway, the former winners: Michael Schumacher, Fernando Alonso twice, Jenson Button, Sebastian Vettel twice, Lewis Hamilton 4 times, Nico Rosberg. Those are your former winners of the and former driver champions in the same season. So, you got anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, we can talk about. I got so much to talk about.
We'll go. What do you got?
Okay. What's it called? All right, and then the segment that my mother calls "Dad Talks Too Much."
Right. Good job.
See, I kind of remembered how that went.
Right.
What's it called? We're gonna talk a little bit today about people who drink energy drinks late at night.
Okay.
Because it's funny because I wrote this down last night. So I'm playing video games with somebody about 11 o'clock last night, and all of a sudden I hear the sound in the background. I'm like, oh, what are we drinking? And he's like, a Monster. I'm like, it's like 11 o'clock at night. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, what time are you going to bed? He's like, oh, like 1. I'm like, no, you're not. It's so. And don't get me wrong, I'm like immune to the effects of soda. I think I've had far too much in my life, and that now I can have a soda at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and it doesn't do anything to me, at least as far as I can tell. But this guy was cracking into an energy drink at 11 o'clock at night, which makes me think that energy drinks should have sell times, like where you can't buy them after certain times of the evening.
Wait. Well, now hold on.
Coffee and energy drinks should have these periods, like from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. is when you can buy. Because I mean, let's be real. Or Americans are out of control. But 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. is when you can buy caffeinated beverages. Outside of that period, you can't buy them.
So you don't want people to have caffeine to try and stay awake in the middle of the night?
I want people to go to sleep. I want them to go to sleep when their body wants them to go to sleep.
It's gonna be
but it was crazy. He just broke into an energy drink.
Was it AJ? You're gonna have
no. It was his brother.
Oh, you're gonna have a gigantic backlash from the all night study people once a semester. Just saying.
Well, and so, again, you can buy them earlier, and that's not going to stop this. But what it will stop is somebody from running through Starbucks at 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. What it will stop is somebody from buying, oh my gosh, what is the name of Dutch Brothers has a drink called a Rebel. Right. And it says Rebel, but it has Red Bull in it. It's so weird. It is super sugary and super full of like a full can of Red Bull in there. It is crazy. And you can buy, and it's the wildest thing to me that you can just buy this at like 10 o'clock at night.
Really?
Just go buy it. Yeah. It's like, how is that? Like, we won't sell alcohol after a certain point, but we'll still hand you the keys to the most caffeinated beverage known to man. We'll still sell you a NOS energy drink at 2 a.m. Like, it does not make any sense to me.
I don't know.
Shut it all down.
It doesn't really affect me, I guess. I haven't really thought about it.
I say you're probably not cracking into a Red Bull
I am
at
definitely
1 a.m.
not. And if I'm up at 1 a.m., there's something wrong.
Right, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Things aren't going well.
Right.
So, but no, I just want to talk about people who drink energy drinks that late at night, and really, for that matter, drinking caffeine late at night. I shouldn't do it. I do it a little more, but like I said, I'm damn near immune to like caffeine, but I can't have an energy drink at night because I will not go to sleep.
Right.
I will stay awake all night. So, yeah, that's kind of a crazy one. People stop drinking energy drinks late at night.
Okay. There you go.
Not good for you.
More of a public service announcement than.
Yeah, it was less of a gripe. I thought about, so I wrote it down. I was like, well, do I want this to be like this bugs me, or do I want to like try and plead for people to stop doing it? Like I wasn't sure how I wanted to take it, but
Right.
I really just all wanted to convey the message that it's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I never really bought anything. I never buy coffee that late. I've had coffee in the evening, like at home, but I've never gone out to a Starbucks and bought a coffee at 7 p.m. I'm not going to do that. I usually stop by noon. I'm usually done drinking coffee. That's it. I can't. There's nothing. I mean, it just loses its luster, I guess. If I'm going to.
I was talking to Mom the other day. She said that Tim and Vicky, my aunt,
yes.
Vicky and Uncle Tim, not technically, they're actually not mine. Anyways, that's a different story. They drink coffee all day.
They do.
All day. That's nuts.
All day. Yeah, they have coffee on pretty much all day.
That means caffeine is doing nothing to them.
No, probably not.
It is having zero impact, or it is the only thing that is sustaining them.
Could be that too. I don't know.
One of those two things.
Or both.
Tim, if you're listening, because I know you listen a lot.
Yeah.
Stop drinking coffee so late.
I don't know. I mean, he's been doing it forever. You know. I mean,
I guess that's true. I mean, if it's still working for him, why not?
He's an old Navy guy, so you know, you get those old Navy guys. They get the coffee when they can get the coffee. And that's the only thing you're allowed. I mean, for the most part, that's the only thing you had on board a ship to drink, probably. So, anyway,
coffee and water.
Coffee,
and not always water.
Right. Interesting. All right. I don't know where to go with that. There's no segue.
It was kind of a weird one. Like there were a couple. So I had a couple different things I was thinking about talking about. I was thinking about talking about that. I was thinking about talking about having more American races in F1.
Yeah.
Putting more races here, so that way we could, because the American viewership was like a huge chunk.
Right.
Of viewership last year, and so I thought about bringing that up. I don't know, but for whatever reason, that was just sticking out to me, and I was like, "What's going on with energy drinks right now?" And we just got done talking about Red Bull in their car, and that just kind of stuck it out in my head. I'm like, "We're gonna do this."
Yeah, we're gonna.
So I'm not rooting for Red Bull this year because the only time their races are on are at 5 a.m., which is when I don't think you should be.
It's just 5 a.m. our time. It's fine where they are. It's fine to drink a Red Bull. It's just.
Do you think Max Verstappen drinks a Red Bull?
No, I think he drinks water out of a Red Bull container.
Because I don't think that any of those guys are consuming any of the products that they sell.
Other than the champagne at the end, I don't think so. And
does Red Bull make champagne?
No. But I mean, the champagne at the end always at whoever on the podium.
Yeah, but that's all it's all
right.
foam. Like they're not actually drinking
much
of it. I think they drink some of
it. I've watched a couple of the guys drink a whole bunch of the bottle. I want to say it was Max Verstappen last year. I watched him chug like a third of the bottle, and they're gigantic bottles. He chugged like
he's
a third.
Tiny person.
He chugged like a third of the bottle before he shook it up and sprayed it at everyone because he wanted to make sure he got some.
I think another funny thing that I saw was, who was it? It wasn't Max. Say it wasn't Lewis. It was somebody else who won a race. It might have been Valtteri, but he won. He took a big old swig and then he made like a fountain and was spitting it out, like when he was spitting out his mouth. And I thought that was really funny looking.
Yeah, which is going to bring us to next week's question, hard-hitting journalism question that we're going to answer next week, which is: do F1 drivers drive home after they're done racing?
Uh-oh.
Right? And you don't hear any other kind of, we do the hard-hitting investigative journalism.
Yeah, they have to, because if you watch Drive to Survive, they drive to the races.
Yeah. Why would you do that, though?
They come whipping up in their McLarens and their
right?
Aston Martins and their appropriate cars.
I feel like
what a gig, right?
But I feel like before the race, it's okay. But after the race, after you've been driving 200 and been grumpy and fighting and, blah, 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 then to get in the car and drive, you're just promoting road rage from guys in super fast cars. Anyway, I'm just saying.
I can't wait to. I can just picture this commercial where it's Max Verstappen driving and people are getting road rage around him and yelling at him, "Learn how to drive!"
Well, that would be awesome. That would be a great
and
commercial.
he's just having to ignore it and sigh because he knows. And then he gets in. It could be a car commercial. And he gets in his new car and he just takes off or something like that. I don't know. I think that would be really funny. People criticizing this guy who's a professional driver.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Now we're thinking.
That's all we have for today. We're going to be back next week, which is Wednesday, March the 9th, and not February 23rd, like I said before. Wednesday, March the 9th, We're going to have NBA, NHL. I told you we're going to cover NHL. We'll do that. MLS, soccer, NCAA Basketball Conference Championships we're going to talk about next week because they'll be ready to go. We'll even have, at that point, we'll even have like 6 or 7 teams already in the tournament guaranteed. But we'll talk about that and kind of a little preview of March Madness. Again, we're streaming on YouTube every week. You know what I didn't do?
What'd you do? Didn't do.
This.
Nice. That sounds good.
That one's a good one. I like this one. But anyway, again, we're streaming on YouTube every week. We're on Twitter at Lamb Sports. We're on Facebook under the Best Lamb Sports Show. You can email us, lambsports@gmail.com. Please check out the webpage. We want to thank ESPN, the NFL, the USFL for making news, Fox Sports, NBA, MLS, and of course our sponsors, The Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, and Stavenstone Wine Estates in Hood River. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media LLC. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.